Hey, so one of the YouTubers I've been watching recently made a video about how shit their system of government is over there. Well, I know nothing about Canadian politics. I watch what's it called? JJ McCullough every so often, but other than that, I know nothing about them. And I'm like one of the most apolitical people you'll ever meet, like I've said in a couple videos before. So if I don't really care about the politics of my country, chances are I'm not really gonna care about other countries. Except if we're talking about Friendly Jordies. He makes some banger videos sometimes. But anyway, so we're gonna judge ourselves and see if Canadian Parliament is actually competent in some ways. I kind of want to see how they treat serious issues. We're gonna start with this video where Canadian politicians argue over the use of the word fart in Parliament. Now, this is a very divisive word. I can understand why people wouldn't want it used in certain spaces. I mean, I just shudder thinking about it. So let's just, I don't know, I guess put ourselves through the trouble of having to listen to it, unfortunately, because, well, this is journalism.
Why isn't the government talking about how to retain skilled labor? Why isn't the infrastructure minister talking about how to implement infrastructure funds and get construction workers back to work in Alberta? Why does this government treat Alberta like a fart in the room that nobody...
Okay. I know she didn't just say that word. Like a fart in a room? Miss girl, you need to like adjust your language. You're at like an 11. I'm gonna need you at a 2.
Nobody wants to talk about or acknowledge. That is where my constituents have been at with this government for over a year. And you know what? We're tired of it. We watched what happened. I watched what happened in Brexit. Oh, and by the way, constituents, as I'm giving this speech, there's Liberal members across the aisle that are laughing at me. Yeah. And they're laughing at you.
To be fair, maybe it's because you use the word fart in your speech. Like, that is a pretty funny thing to say. Like, you're treating Alberta like a fart that's in the room, but you're not even acknowledging us. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit funny. I have a sense of humor. If you're gonna use that word and throw your speech to the wayside, might as well laugh about it.
Of order, the honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
My friend in her speech, I heard her say a word that I know is distinctly unparliamentary, and I think she may want to withdraw it. The word was F-A-R-T.
Now her spelling it out. Oh my gosh. No, this lady is like prime hall monitor in 2nd grade. Like, she reminds me of the person who would snitch the second she gets the chance. Who the hell does she think she is? F-A-R-T? It's hurting my ears. Miss Lady, there are way worse words to use. This is how you know that Canada is like kind of coasting in terms of problems they have, because the amount of things that I've heard people say during our election season is like actually insane. Like, one of the presidential candidates literally made a whole meme on the other one, and like, I don't know, everyone was like, oh, okay, we have to deal with this guy. Not talking about politics, but that's kind of funny. Why is she making such a big deal about that? I don't know.
The honourable member for Calgary Signal Hill.
Are you serious, Mr. Speaker? Like, is my colleague actually serious? I just gave an impassioned speech about supporting Alberta jobs, and that's what the leader of a political party stands up and has to say? No, I don't withdraw it.
The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
I have a lot to say about the content of my friend's speech. I am deeply concerned, as are all.
If you have friends like these, like, who needs enemies? This girl's like, she needs to smoke something. I don't know. She's taking this a little bit too seriously.
All people in this place for Canadians who are hurting from economic downturn. I would like to speak to that, but the first important, excuse me.
Wait, she was like barely even like combated against. Like, some guy in the back was like, that's a speech. That's a speech. And then she was like, okay, I'm done. I'm shriveling up. I gotta sit down. Like, how am I gonna even go against that rebuttal? Like, that's a speech. That's true. I gotta sit down. Like, what else am I gonna do?
Mr. Speaker, the leader of the Green Party has been probably one of the most vocal opponents of every part of the Alberta economy for the last 10 years, so I will take no lessons from her on this.
Ooh, slam dunk.
Decorum is important and respect is important to this place. I remind those who are now heckling me that you are breaking the rules of this place when you do so. I have never heckled.
Is she like paid hourly or something? I am so confused. She is not, what job is she doing? I don't know anything about her, but like literally she's spending most of the time that she has on her platform just talking about the word fart. Can she please like get to some policy making or changing or addressing? She needs to get off this topic and actually address whatever problem her opponent's talking about. Girl, you're making me sad. Very sad.
In this place, not once. And I've never used language that was unparliamentary, not once. And
Good for you.
it's passion, but I do not forgive, nor do I accept.
Oh my gosh, she looked like she was about to get like sniped by someone. Like she saw like the freaking assassin out of the corner of her eye and just like sat down immediately. That was scary.
In dealing with unparliamentary language, the Speaker takes into account the tone, manner, and intention of the member speaking, the person whom the words at issue were directed, and it goes on. What I'm going to say is sometimes in this chamber, passion takes over and it gets kind of heated, and sometimes we say things out of
It gets heated.
not be parliamentary.
This is Canada's version of heated.
It's up to her to decide whether they were unparliamentary. Someone took offense. I will take it under advisement, bring it back to the table, and we'll go from there.
That is actually insane. So does that mean that like her entire argument gets thrown out like because she used the word fart? That's so funny. But honestly, gotta maintain courtroom civility, I guess. Okay, so here we have Trudeau apologizing for eating chocolate in the House of Commons, because you can't eat in the classroom, so why would you need to be able to eat in the Parliament? Like, that's just rude. Have some decorum.
Mr. Speaker, we all know that the rules of the House do not permit us to eat in this place.
Mr. McSnitch, yet again, here he is. No, the lady literally just transferred to this guy's body. He's like, so according to my calculations, we're not allowed to eat anything in the Parliament. Like, you could be starving for like 2 weeks, but you're not allowed. Oh my gosh, like what is his problem? I bet he has eyes on the back of his head. Like this guy right here in the back could also be seen eating something by him. He needs to get a day job, because this is clearly just a hobby for him. He's not engaged in like what's actually going on.
A number of people were eating in their seats, including the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Canadian Heritage, and the Prime Minister, who appeared to be
Snitch! Oh my gosh, this is how he got to this position. Snitcher McSnitcherson, oh my gosh.
hiding a bagel in his desk. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has already stained this place with corruption. He does not need to stain it with mustard as well. Exactly.
Nah, and he really thought he ate with that line. He's really stained his desk with the corruption. He can't stain it with mustard too. Like, he'd been preparing that line for 3 days now. He probably saw Trudeau eating something at a previous meeting and he was like, oh, I'll get him next time. And this is his chance to use that line. Oh my gosh, get a life.
Order. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, I apologize. It was a chocolate bar, and I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh my gosh, he ruined his whole political career just with that move.
And I remind members that food is not permitted in the chamber.
They're clapping. Okay, so now we have the first Black Canadian House Speaker kicks off Parliament with joke. Please treat me like that new car. I honestly don't know what that means. Is that supposed to imply racism? I don't know. Or previous racism? I'm not sure. Maybe we just have to hear this joke in context.
Colleagues, before we begin, my first question period. Please treat me like that new car and don't give it a dent on the first day. Questions orales. Le chef, l'honorable chef de l'opposition.
We'll keep the car on the right side of the road, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And before I begin, I'd like to really take the opportunity as a member of the Black Canadian community to really congratulate you for making history as Canada's first Black Canadian Speaker.
I think this man is also the first Black American to do a cosplay on a Megamind. At that point, literally just shave off your hair. I don't know why he still has that little horseshoe of a pattern there.
I would like to thank all members for being on their best behavior and making their new president get settled in a little bit with this new car. No dents.
That one wasn't anything crazy. I'm sure everyone has jokes like that, so that's fair. This one talks about Dennis Skinner, who was kicked out of Commons for calling David Cameron Dodgy Dave. That's a pretty heavy insult, Skinner. I hope you have some evidence to back that up.
The Minister recalled that at the time after he became Prime Minister under the Coalition, and at the time when he was dividing the nation between strivers and scroungers, I asked him a very important question about the windfall he received when he wrote off the mortgage of the premises in Notting Hill, and I said to him he didn't write off the mortgage of the one the taxpayers were helping to pay for at Oxford. I didn't receive a proper answer then. Maybe Dodgy Dave will answer it now. And by the way...
Let me just say before that was the longest run-on sentence I've ever heard in my life. That reminded me of when like old people try to give me directions like manually.
Oh, okay, so like to get to the Walmart, you take a right and then you go straight for 2 meters and then you take a left. For some reason they're talking meters even though we're in the US. And then you take a left and then you make a U-turn, take the roundabout, go to your right, and then go to your left again. And you would have ended up in a circle at some point and you would be at the Walmart.
But they wouldn't add the last part. They would just say left, right, left, right, left, right. Even though you could like literally say, wait, use your directions, then that. Like that was hard to follow. I was just waiting till the end of what he was saying. I was waiting till I'd hear the Dodgy Dave, if I'm being honest.
Order! I must ask the honourable gentleman, order!
Order!
Don't require any assistance from some junior minister. Sir!
Minister!
I invite the honourable gentleman to withdraw that...
I like his accent a lot.
Order, he's perfectly capable of asking his question without using that word. It is up to him, but if he doesn't wish to withdraw it, I can't reasonably ask the Prime Minister to answer the question. All he has to do is withdraw that word and think of another.
This is straight to playground activity. Fine, I'll like trade my snack with you. As long as you like don't call me a meathead for like not doing it in the first place. Like that was rude. I don't know why you did it. Like I was happy to give you my snack, but then you called me meathead and now I just feel bad. Like you can't do that to me. These are like actively melting people. The average age in here is 173. That's crazy. Why are they getting so heated over Dodgy Dave at this point?
There's the word beginning with D and ending in Y that he inappropriately used. Withdraw!
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. This man has done more to divide this nation than anybody else. He's looked after his own pocket. I still refer to him as Dodgy Dave. Do what you like.
I can't tell if they're on his side.
Under the power given to me by Standing Order number 43, I order the honourable member to withdraw immediately from the House for the remainder of this day's sitting.
He's used to this.
They were way too happy about that just because he called him Dodgy Dave. I guess it is like pretty unprofessional to do name calling, but man, these people they get paid way too much. However they're making their money, they get paid way too much. Okay, so this one I think is the last one. And it is, I don't know how to actually pronounce this, but Poilievre claims Trudeau is losing control with screaming and hollering while answering question. I'm assuming this is Pierre. He is probably an opponent of Trudeau.
Under this Prime Minister, he's now throwing a cape over his back, claiming that he's the hero on auto theft, but it's actually tripled in Toronto, and it's up by 100% in Montreal after he brought in catch and release and house arrest for car thieves, and after his incompetence allowed our ports to spin out of control and our cars to be exported to overseas crime and terror networks. Why doesn't he reverse his policies instead of another meeting?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is a
Let me just say those are pretty big allegations. Wonder how true all that stuff is?
Canadians are concerned about this, and the Conservative leader just chooses to whip out his empty slogans and continue to blame everyone while we're getting to work. We're pulling together stakeholders and leaders from across the government to look at.
No, he is employing all of the debate tactics that I can think of. So, you are heavily capping little bro. The breeding techniques are an interesting strategy, but I guess that makes it so he's able to talk as much of a game as he can. I don't know anything about Trudeau. When I first saw him, definitely looks good. That's all I know. He's a good-looking prime minister.
From across governments to look at what more we can do. We've seen successes. CBSA agents have intercepted over 1,600 stolen cars last year in 2023, but there's more to do. We're going to continue to make the steady work and investments necessary to keep Canadians safe and to keep crime down.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Keep crime down. Crime is way up. Violent crime is up 40% under this Prime Minister. In 2022, approximately 9,600 vehicles were stolen in the Toronto area alone, representing a 300% increase since 2015.
300% increase, Trudeau? Get on them streets, what are you doing?
In 2015.
I guess maybe he's been spending a bit too much time eating those chocolate bars. At first, I was in support, like, hey man, get your bag. If you're hungry, eat your chocolate bars. But I kind of want to keep my car if I'm in Toronto, so.
What happened? I know, he happened, Mr. Speaker. How can we make him unhappen and stop the crime?
Like self-delete? Like, what do you wish he was dead? Is that where you're playing? What the fuck?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, in 2015, Stephen Harper presented a budget that had slashed funds for policing, slashed funds for CBSA officers, slashed funding for Veterans Affairs Services, and we were there to clean up the mess, to cut taxes for the wealthiest 1%, lower them for the middle class, to support families, to start moving forward on gun control in real ways while the Conservatives cozy up to the American gun lobbies. We've continued to step up in keeping Canadians safe. Let them bring assault weapons back to our streets. We'll keep Canadians safe.
Oh, Poilievre's like he's kind of lacking right now.
Wow, is he ever losing control of himself? Oh my goodness. Screaming and hollering like that. Mr. Speaker, it's his press release that says that in Toronto, auto thefts are up 300% since he took office. His solution is to hold a summit. He held a summit on food prices. Food prices went up. He held a summit on housing. Housing costs doubled. How much is crime going to rise after all the bigwigs go to his summit?
This is so comical. The room is like literally split 50-50. It's just like a high school movie, like in a lunchroom where like you have like the bullies and like all their friends and like their supporters. They're like, yeah, and then you have the underdogs and like they're like, you know, they've got like a smaller amount of applause, but like they're steadily growing in size and number.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, there is a real challenge around auto theft in this country, and our solution is to roll up our sleeves, pull together partners from across the country, and get to solving it. His solution, throw his hands up in the air, blame a raft of political attacks on us, and continue to see that he's not putting forward any real solutions, Mr. Speaker.
Wow, that was pretty interesting. That's Canadian politics, or a little glimpse into it, if you will. I mean, I was being a little bit facetious when I was saying that, you know, Canada's kind of dumb with the way that they handle things, because, you know, every country has their moments, I'm sure. We've definitely had some of ours, for sure. But, yeah, no, that was definitely entertaining to see how those politicians actually interact with each other and how much it feels like a playground at sometimes. I haven't seen like Supreme Court cases or anything like that, like whole courtroom sessions or House of Legislature? Frick. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I haven't seen those sessions, so maybe they go pretty crazy too. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. Guys, reinvent the ordinary. I will see you later. Have a great night or morning or day. I don't know. Bye.